I don't wanna get too hyped because it's gonna lead into this problem I always have with when I get too hyped for a game and I'm waiting for it. Nothing feels nice enough to play, and I'm gonna be like a month or two. Just I don't want to play anything. Can this game come out already? Let's go do the thing here. In the thin light of early dawn, a sudden explosion rocked the island. As pieces of the smuggler cut rain down around them, Cassandra made out silhouettes of several boats headed toward the island. The Inquisitor had found her. Yeah, that's true, Knight. I've already played it, Hyper. Space 2? Yeah, I'm interested in that as well. Exploding Man. Can you send me that link, Ihazarus, in a Twitch message? I know that feeling. Had that when you were waiting for your Nurka. Nothing was fun. Yeah. It's definitely a big problem for me, Panax. If I get too hyped for something.
The Inquisitor's men had destroyed their means of escape. Their only hope was to seize an enemy boat and eliminate the other enemy vessel, lest they give chase. The supplies from the island could be useful, but freedom came first.
Replay it? Nah. I don't feel like replaying it. I'm actually gonna go run the toilet. I'll be back in a second. hard was about fighting occult people. Yeah, it's a bit of that. It's a bit of fighting everything. There's 10 chapters in the game, and you pretty much play a different character in all of them, or most of them, showing different views to the main story and different times. It's actually quite well done. Right now he thinks he plays the good guys. The last time this happened in the game, he butchered a few thousand people being the good guy. Yeah, and released the Antichrist into the world and stuff like that. It happens, it happens. Everyone makes mistakes. Could happen to literally anyone. Hey, White Devil. I wish there was like a mini-map.
Lifting the bridge trapped the enemies on the other side. But it also separated Cassandra and her saviors from those supplies.
Well, shit. I was gonna get the supplies. I didn't know that did that. Shit. Well, we'll have to survive without the supplies then. I only saw the switch there and I was like, oh hey, there's the supplies. Because of the same icon for the supplies and that. Is there actually anything else in here other than just release this shit? Is that the mission?
The first boat drifted away from the island. They needed to reach that last one.
Oh. So you do need to do something else? Can't just rush that. No, she'll be fine. Hey, Mepis. It's good to see you. Oh, this guy didn't do anything? Hey, you. Well, if you don't do anything, I'm just gonna run away then. Bye-bye. Get anything good during the Steam sales? Not really. What did I buy? I bought Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Wind Ward. I bought the Vampire the Masquerade for my wife. What else? I bought something else as well. Nothing really spectacular. Vampire is amazing? Yeah, it is. It is damn good. We've both played through it a couple times. She wanted a Steam copy as well. Yeah, Bloodlines. White Devil. This game is clearly... Yeah, it is definitely Goldman. It's like a... This combat portion of the game is like a... kinda light version of XCOM. And then the overworld is like a story-heavy version of FTL, which is a really nice combination. And then it's set into a Wild West with some Lovecraftian tentacle monsters and demons and Antichrist hopping around. Played Bloodlines. I should probably play through the Bloodlines one day. Actually, White Devil.
The final boat was within reach, and any stragglers would be left behind.
This would actually be a fun game to play. There really is no other way to play it without the unofficial patch. You really have to have that.
Was the Protector's most dangerous rival. His fleets blockaded their ultimate destination. Any vessel that attempted to get by would be blasted out of the water. Cassandra wondered if La Fortuna could be persuaded to let them pass. Hardin told her about a grand poker tournament that La Fortuna was hosting. Joining the game would require a 25,000 peso buy-in.
Is the game totally broken without a patch? There is a lot of bugs in the game, Goldman, in the Masquerade Bloodlines. It fixes a lot of issues. Still waiting for a Bloodlines sequel. Well, I hope some kind of vampire game is coming out someday soon. Paradox Interactive bought the rights for well, they bought the whole thing, the whole Vampire the Masquerade and the Werewolf, all of that, all the World of Darkness, all of that is now owned by Paradox Interactive. So there's definitely a chance they'll do something with that. What's my Steam name? If you go under the stream Mepis, there's the Steam group. Just click on there and you find me through there. That's the easiest way. But I'm using the same name as the stream. Adelante. Gambling Den. Yeah, definitely White Devil. One of the actually really good RPGs where you can do different choices and they actually do something. And you can play it in so many different ways. The bustling town of Adelante was full of new buildings and prosperous people. The copious construction work in town was sponsored almost single-handedly by Mr. La Fortuna. For the denizens of the Western Territory, La Fortuna was the embodiment of prosperity and modernity. Me accept that. Find the local brothel? Maybe not. Let's see the cantina. Cassandra was pleasantly surprised to find that the cantina appeared safe and well run. Let's see the headlines. Cassandra's brushes with the law had been minor, it seemed. She found only a small note about one of the events she had been involved in. Bartender nodded to Cassandra and gestured toward the cantina's offerings. Let's see the general store. Noise bomb. Revolver rifle. It's pretty good. Although low damage. Well, let's see the brothel. When Cassandra told Hardin they should find the bordello, his eyes lit with unsavory glow. She admonished him sternly, insisting this was strictly a business outing. Her head was already starting to ache. It was only a matter of time before it dulled with pain for hours or even days. They arrived at the brothel in time to witness a violent quarrel. An older, flamboyant dressed woman beating an Indian prostitute with a billy club. Cassandra guessed the older woman was Bordello's madame. Apparently in Vampire, the choice is who you kill and choose the lesser evil when feeding, which could be good, but all we have now is a trailer and a summary. Yep. Thank you, Mepis. I'll have to take a look at that. Original War, that looks interesting. That is very good stance, White Devil. Don't get overhyped until you see the final product. An instant later, Hardin rushed at the madame, landing a full-force punch in the middle of her face with a crutch. As she sprawled on the floor, dazed and screaming, Hardin rushed to the native woman, helping her up. She hugged him as she cried, covering him with kisses in a way that suggested they had more than a passing familiarity with one another. Hardin motioned to Cassandra to get out of sight. She ducked into the nearest back street. Hardin and his native acquaintance joined Cassandra as soon as they could. She wasted no time reprimanding Hardin for attracting the attention of the entire town and doubtless the authorities. Hardin explained that he had no choice. It was his duty to defend Felicia. Did we hear this name somewhere else? Apparently they had known each other for some time. Cassandra guessed Hardin was one of her regulars. Felicia apologized for the trouble, but said that without her job she had nowhere to go. Hardin suggested she could join Cassandra's pose, as she was good shot and good company. Yeah, let's go. Psychic prostitute and crazy man, that's good. See this. Native child kidnapped by settlers. Well, you need a gun, for starters. And we got prayer. You get prayer. Ooh, golden bullet. Let's give you the golden bullet. And you get the prayer, and you get the musket. And we'll get a better gun for Cassandra. She's my Indian sniper now. Mexican Army Fort, Gambling Den, Pilgrimage. What is this? Hacienda Garcia Pimentel. Let's go to the Pilgrimage. Cassandra and her companions came across a group of people camping out in the wild. They had numerous tents set up, along with carts and horses. There were wooden crosses and ornate incense holders everywhere they looked. A man wearing priest's attire greeted them on behalf of his flock and said his name was Key Elspas. He explained that he was leading these people on pilgrimage, but that they were currently enjoying a much-needed rest. Cassandra remarked that the beaten paths around the camp suggested that they'd been camping there for some time. Elspas winced and admitted in a low voice that Cassandra was right. They weren't resting at all, actually. They were lost. His map had turned out to be inaccurate. He couldn't bring himself to dash the hopes of so many pilgrims by telling them they had to go back. Thus far, he had been able to convince everyone that they were still on the Calaga Shrine Trail, while he secretly tried to figure out where it was. Now he was losing hope of ever finding it. Never heard. Kay Elspas explained that the Calaga Shrine was a pre-Columbian ritual site said to contain carved figurines of human skulls adorned with Christian symbols, crosses, three-cornered symbols, and fish. According to Elspas, the existence of these symbols confirmed that Christianity was the world's sole true religion. Unfortunately, however, the map he'd bought from a merchant in Adelante had proven false. Now he would need to admit his failure and destroy the faith and resolve his flock. Unless a true map were found, Cassandra finished for him. Elspas nodded fervently. He promised to share his supplies with Cassandra if she found a map. He had heard that the Garcia Pimentel family library might contain clues to the shrine's location. Well, let's go check this family here. Matron, these names: Bulguria, Adelmaira Garcia Pimentel was one of the last of the venerable Garcia Pimentel clan, which had flourished in the New World for hundreds of years. Now the family was a shadow of its former glory, but the Garcia Pimentel library remained the greatest and most complete collection of works detailing the New World and the rise of Mexico. Madame, is that? I don't know. Maybe. Garcia Pimentel jovially greeted Lydia as Cassandra had introduced herself and guessed she was here to see the fabled library. Cassandra nodded, hoping quietly she could find the location of Calaga's shrine amid the books. The matron nodded and led them inside. There they were joined by a scrawny figure in clothes that had once been very fine but were clearly showing their wear. Matron Garcia Pimentel said this was her son, Porfirio, and that he would be their guide to the library. Cassandra curtsied, taking a closer look at the young man. On top of a hunched, scrawny body sat a large head with a bulging lump in the middle of his forehead. His skin was mottled and unnatural looking. He inclined his head slightly at all times. What a pretty man. As they walked into the library, Porfirio told Cassandra about various landmarks in the area, spouting an endless stream of historical facts, interrupted only by his slight stutter. Although at first he seemed consumed by his study of history, Cassandra soon realized his trembling hands, darting eyes, and blush meant something completely different. He was attempting to court her. In another context it might have been endearing, but she was unsettled by the cold lump she felt in her stomach. Porfirio broke her reflections, asking whether there was anything in particular she would like to hear about. Let's ask about the shrine. According to Porfirio, the Kalaka Shrine was the crown jewel of the area's historical attractions, believed to have been built long before the first Europeans set foot in the New World. It contained several painted sculptures called Kalakas that inexplicably bore ancient Christian symbols, fish crosses and various three-cornered ornaments. Yeah, those are so rare to have fish crosses and three-cornered ornament thingies in the world. It's like the most basic symbols possible. Must be Christianity, of course. The shrine was considered by many as the ultimate confirmation that Christianity was the world's one true religion. There had been a minor military struggle over who controlled it, with the winner doing their utmost to camouflage its position. When they met their downfall, however, its precise location was lost to history. At this last sentence, Porfirio's deformed lips twisted in what Cassandra interpreted as an approximation of a smile. She guessed aloud that he knew so much. She was sure he must know the location. The young man looked away shyly. When Cassandra pressed, he nodded his deformed head in confirmation. He said he would tell Cassandra the location in exchange for a kiss. Nice. Let's go for it. Fighting a revolution, she brought herself to lay a gentle kiss where a person's cheek would be. At the last moment, Porfirio turned his head and Cassandra found herself kissing his lips. Then he grasped her head to his and forced his tongue into her mouth. Nice. Into smart Noel? Yes, Joypunk. We already visited the brothel, now we're making out with a hunchback in Mexican private library. That didn't go as planned? No. Cassandra jerked her head. Actually, I'm just gonna wait at the ordeal. She even managed to let out some falsely contented murmurs to cloud his judgment. He looked at her, enamored and awestruck, as Cassandra battled the urge to hold onto her breakfast. He produced a detailed map of the area from a desk drawer and pointed out the exact location of the shrine. He then copied the major landmarks onto a piece of paper and gave it to her. It was more than she could have hoped for. Cassandra's heart sank when she reached the foyer to find Hardin unconscious on a... what is it? Shai Shilong? I don't know. Lady Garcia Pimentel explained that she had left the group alone with a bottle of brandy and returned to find him like this. She suggested that Cassandra and her friends stay the night and leave next morning. No, we are leaving right now. Let's do the premonition. Cassandra felt the dawning premonition and allowed herself to focus on it. Cassandra felt a great danger emanating from the Garcia Pimentel house that extended far beyond kissing a disfigured man. In a blink, she had a vision of herself in a bridal gown that was slick with blood. She blinked and the feeling passed, leaving a painful dropping in its place. Yeah, we need to leave right now. Shadow kill, nice. Disgusting experience result in enfeeblement. -1 max HP. Sell the Kalaka Shrine map or use it yourself. I think I'm gonna go rob the shrine myself. Screw the pilgrimage. They can go kiss the disfigured man to get the map themselves. I've earned the shrine for myself. Cassandra and her companions arrived at the fabled Kalaka Shrine. Built into a cliffside The pieces of masonry hanging from its entrance indicated that the river had been eating away at the land for some time and was now biting into the actual construction. Getting inside would be quite dangerous. Well, we will do it anyway. After struggling with the ropes, the party entered the mouth of the moldy tunnel and complete darkness. The floor shuddered with the constant vibration, and there was a clattering sound that sounded like thousands of crustaceans skittering across stone. They then emerged into a bigger room where two narrow rays of light shifted in from the surface. The shrine looked ancient and distinguished, apart from the skulls decorated with Christian symbols that lay everywhere. These must be the Kalagas. Let's steal them. Cassandra asked Hardin to pack the Kalagas. Hardin squeezed past Cassandra into a small room and started carefully packing the Kalagas into his sack. All the while, Cassandra poked around for signs of danger. She was almost disappointed not to find any poisoned darts, giant rolling stones, or rabid beasts to punish their crime. Shortly, Hardin reported he was done. We finally get to do some archaeology in this game. I'm happy. Actually, the prequel chapter also felt really like doing archaeology. Cassandra shrugged at the anticlimactic shrine and decided to leave. They were barely out of the tunnel when the earth beneath their feet trembled and a large section of the cliff fell into the water. The entrance to the Kalaga shrine had collapsed. It would take serious excavation to get back inside. Fence the stolen Kalagas. Nice. Do I want to fence them? You read Kalagas as Cloacas? And what the fuck? What is Cloacas? So I could sell the Kalagas, or I could probably bring them to pilgrimage. I mean, we are technically playing a good character now, so we should go here. She said yes, but the shrine had collapsed. Kay Elspeth was visibly shaken. He told her of long days spent looking for the shrine and the sadness of his pilgrims. None of them would be able to admire the wondrous glory of the ancient Kalagas, proof of Christianity's supremacy over the religions of the world. Cassandra saw through his deception and chided him for wanting to steal the figures. To Cassandra's surprise, Elspeth instantly dropped his act and dried his tears. In hushed tones, he admitted he had scammed his followers into funding his expedition here. He said the Kalagas were worth a fortune, and he had a buyer lined up. If the Kalagas were lost, however, all his effort would be for nothing. No, I have not. The new ones. Right. Well, the new one is on Xbox, but the other one that's on PC, I have not played it. They belong in a museum, yes. In Animal Anatomy, cloaca is the posterior orifice that serves as the only opening for the intestinal. Nice white devil. Yeah, that would be a bit strange having those in there. I actually do have the Tomb Raider. Maybe we should play it through that, so I can complain. This is not how you do archaeology. Yeah, I actually like the Tomb Raiders. I played a lot of the old ones when I was younger. The first Tomb Raider, when you see the T-Rex for the first time, it's like, oh, and then you get eaten. Actually, didn't I stream the first one very long time ago? Maybe. Or I played it on, I don't know. It's not long, but it's quite fun. Yeah, I should probably stream it actually. Not. I'll think about it. Do you know how long exactly, Knight? The new Tomb Raider was has good gameplay but shitty story. Hated the quick time events. Yeah. Those are always bullshit in any game. Cassandra mentioned the figures might have been spared from the catastrophe. She wanted to hear what he had to offer. He cast her a look of understanding and smiled slightly. Then he resumed his act full force, falling to the ground, praying and loudly thanking the Lord. We would get good money immediately now, or we could sell them later, but it might be harder. Let's just go with the easy money. Chaos was handed her agreed upon sum and took the Kalagas in his own hands, a genuine tear of gratitude in his eyes. He walked away, announcing the miracle to his followers. Only 11 hours, so it's like two days, yeah. I'll probably stream it tonight. This week. Crippler. Every hit you score cripples the target. Shadow Cloak. When not in direct sunlight, you become invisible. This is a new one. You get that. Basically destroyed the character progression of the last game by making her as inexperienced as she was at the beginning of the last game. That really sucks, I hazardous. Let's see the Mexican army for it. The team arrived at the Mexican army stronghold in the Western Territory. The terrain was challenging and progress had been slow. They were grateful for the respite. Hardin offered to buddy up to the grunts. He said he had seen he said he had seen what they knew. He had to see what they knew and maybe win some of their money. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's been in my library for a while, so I should probably play through it. Commander Alberto J. Barbola Pareco greeted Cassandra gallantly. These names are horrible in this game. Gallantly and offered refreshments. He excused his humble surroundings, explaining that order was maintained in his region by the private militias of wealthy industrials such as Ricardo La Fortuna. Consequently, the Mexican military had only a minor presence in this area. Cassandra asked how it was possible for someone like La Fortuna to blockade his competitors' assets. The commander told Cassandra that Mr. La Fortuna was a benefactor of the United Mexican States. The government trusted him and gave him many liberties. He explained that the blockade Cassandra had referred to was only a training exercise for his merchant fleet, put on in response to the rise of piracy in the Caribbean. It is trying so hard to make you care for illogical character comportments and be serious while overlooking major issues in the plot coherence. Yeah, that sounds fun. Cassandra said she was looking for Joaquim Perez and asked whether the commander knew anything about him. The commander was familiar with Perez. He said Perez had stopped in briefly to resupply and had made a vague mention of a failed arrest attempt. He was still in pursuit of the person who had eluded him, but he had declined to give description. So far, the commander had no more news from him. Rumbling noises and jeering voices from outside caught the commander's attention. If you don't take it serious, it's perfectly okay. But maybe that's just because I played too many JRPGs. Yeah. He got up from his desk and looked through the window. Cassandra joined him. Hardin was quarreling with a soldier. The commander excused himself, leaving Cassandra in the room alone. Searched the files, looking information about her own exploits. It took Cassandra a good while to skim the files. There was nothing major yet, but she did find few reports. Stole the incriminating files. Cassandra could hear the commander's steps in the corridor. She hastily closed everything and leaped back into her seat. The commander walked in, visibly upset. He explained Hardin had got into trouble playing dice, but that he would overlook it, as his soldiers shouldn't have engaged in gambling in the first place. Still, he said Cassandra and her crew should leave immediately and not return. Okay. We know there are only 3 persons who can be responsible then. ABC? Yes. Checked out Duelist? I have not, Mepis. It seemed interesting. So mad that they are trying to be serious and still say that it's a Tomb Raider game. It should be at least as fun as Uncharted, but the problem is that it's not. Yeah, definitely hazardous. I would really like to play those Uncharted games as well. They seem like fun games, and a lot of people have been recommending those. I think I have some of them on PS3, but that doesn't really help for streaming or anything.